This is from our buddy Chris at U Stadium Fantasy. He says Marquise Brown retires before the start of the 22 NFL regular season.
That is a Pepper X take. That's like
I'm going to say Carolina Reaper, but I get what you're going for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like just that when I heard about that rumor, that just felt so otherworldly. Like what? Like it's just not.
That was so weird. We were doing pre-show yesterday, and he's like, "Hey, Splash, what about this Marquise Brown news?" I'm like, "What Marquise Brown news?" And he's like, "Oh, this dude on Twitter said he might retire." It's like, what? Here's
just some guy on Twitter.
Okay, here's my, I guess, analysis. If there is any truth to it, I don't think there is. If there is any truth to it, I think it is a ploy to make sure he's on that 5th-year option and make sure he gets a contract extension this offseason, because currently we have not accepted or declined his 5th-year deal. We're probably going to, so it's probably just kind of water under the bridge. But I think this is similar to what Kyler's doing in Arizona, that it
feels like a ploy to stick around.
Yeah, exactly. Sure he's trying to say, like, hey, bring me my money, right? Bring me that Brinks truck. Word to Jalen Ramsey. Like, I want a comically large amount of money. So I would be shocked if Marquise Brown doesn't play week 1 with the Ravens. I would be unbelievably shocked. The Carolina Reaper 100%.
Your name would be changed back to Sad Splash or Depression or whatever.
I think I would. I really do like Marquise. I think when Lamar was on the field, I'm going on Pro Football Reference right now. I will verify right now. That's Patrick Mahomes. Pro Football Reference. When Marquise Brown was on the football field with Lamar Jackson, it was magic. It was phenomenal. He ended up with 1,000 yards anyways, but keep in mind, Lamar missed a third of the season, give or take, and he threw 4 passes in that second Cleveland game. And the sort of production that Hollywood had was just off the charts, all things considered. Think of it like a Ravens receiver. There's a lower standard there than with other teams. But, he didn't have – oh, my goodness. I hate ads. Okay. So he – is that 11 games?
I'm like in the middle of trying to call somebody out right now.
Oh, boy. Okay. In 11 games with Lamar Jackson and Marquise Brown on the field together, 65 catches, 825 yards, 6 touchdowns. That's on pace for 100 catches, 1,275 yards, 9 touchdowns over 17 games. So they would have played 16 games together because Marquise missed the Bears game and Lamar missed the Bears game as well. So over 16 games, they would have played together, 94 catches, 1,200 yards, 8-9 touchdowns. That is very good production, all things considered. Then you think in 11 games with Lamar, he had 50 yards 10 times. In the 5 games with Lamar, either missing 3 quarters or out, he didn't crack 44. He had 41, 43, 44, 28, 27. With Lamar, 69, nice, 113, 53, 91, 125, 35, 80, 116, 37, 9 out of 11 games, he had at least 50 yards. Then 51, 55. I was winning money off Marquise Brown getting to 50 yards a game. That was great. So I think Marquise he's in line for a big year this year. He said this year he had a bit of a soft 1,000-yard season because he only beat it by 8 yards, and it took him till week 18. I'm sorry. I'm expecting big things out of Marquise Brown. I think I don't want to make any overarching statements about the Ravens because I don't know what the defense is going to be. I don't know what the offensive line is going to be. I don't know what the defense is going to be. But if you get average offensive line play, I think the Ravens are going to have a top 5 offense. I think Lamar is going to get back in there as a top 5-ish quarterback. He was number 6 in my rankings the last time I did them.
As long as they protect him well enough to either run or throw, whatever he wants to do with it, because we know
Dobbins
Lamar
back, you get Edwards back. So you're going to have that elite rushing attack back, because the issue with the Ravens this year was they did not have that speed element other than Lamar Jackson. But Lamar is such a freaky athlete that there's sort of it's like Tyreek Hill, that there's Tyreek Hill speed, and that's just different speed. There's Lamar Jackson speed, and that's just different speed. The agility that he has over the middle of the field is just different, right? The issue was with Murray and Freeman, you couldn't have those back-breaking inverted veer runs that the Ravens are so good at. This is There was one, the 2-point conversion against Cleveland, the Monday night game, Tucker game winner, that game, 47-42. They ran a counter play that if Lamar holds, he's darting right up the middle, but he gave it to Dobbins, and Dobbins got in on the edge. So those kind of plays, that is what makes the Ravens so special, because Lamar is so freaky athletic in the middle of the field that he just makes you miss and gets a bunch of yardage, that a J.K. Dobbins or a Gus Edwards or the guys this year with Murray and Murray and Freeman, that is more of a ground and pound up the middle rather than a split and you're 15 yards down the field. But with Dobbins and Edwards, you can get back to that inverted veer game of Edwards has enough juice around the edge to break off a big run. Dobbins definitely has enough juice. Go back to the 72-yard touchdown against Cincinnati. He had week 17, 160 yards that game on 12 carries. This is going to be an elite Ravens offense. If again, big if the pass blocking is like a top 10 unit in the NFL, the Ravens will be an elite offense. They will be top 5 points, top 5 yards, among the league leaders in yards per pass attempt, among the league leaders in yards per rush attempt. Again, 3,000 yards rushing is definitely in play. I don't know about the defense. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, they're going to win the division, but I think to me, it's a pretty safe bet that they're going to have a spectacular offense. You get the running backs, you get the 2-star running backs back, you unlock that Lamar Jackson freakiness as an athlete in the middle of the field, and then you bring in the receiving core, and for the first time, there's no turnover. And I'll take the hot take meter down. For the first time, there's no huge turnover in the receiving core for Baltimore, and your top 3 options are the same they were last year. You have Andrews, Bateman, Brown. The last couple years, at least one of those names was changing. Like from 2020 to 2021, you throw Bateman in there, you take out Snead, right? You take out these guys. You take out Hurst between 19 and 20. You take out Crabtree and Smoke Brown, John Brown, that first year. And it's just a revolving door. And this year you have the 2 running backs back. And I know running backs don't matter, but they will for Baltimore. It's kind of, I've made this analogy before, but it's like an offensive line. There's 3 tiers. This is, I think, that franchise guy quote, but the first tier is like Bengals tier, Dolphins tier, that you are actively hurting yourself every time you run a play. Then there's the middle tier of offensive line that they let you do what you want to do. This is, I would say, the Rams fall into this category. And then there are dominant offensive lines like a Cleveland, like a 2019 Ravens, like a Colts, that they not only let you do what you want to do, but they are what you want to do. So if I think the Ravens, certainly the running backs this year were actively hurting the rushing attack. And at least with Dobbins and Edwards, I'm not saying they're McCaffrey, I'm not saying they're Henry, I'm not saying they're Taylor, but they are at least in that second tier of running backs of they will let you run your offense. I love Freeman. I love Murray. He had a huge game against Pittsburgh. Mad respect there. They're great players long-term, but they did not have the juice. They did not have the necessary skill set to be good running backs, even in a pro running back system, other than week 18 with Murray. So